So, let me get this straight. The world is melting, the polar bears are dying, and all the fish are full of plastic? What are we supposed to do? Other than, like, cry? Hey, hello and welcome to the Green Stocking Society. My name is Shara and I am a philosophy grad and I work in sustainable fashion, and today we are talking about 3 organisations that you can support today to help protect our beautiful planet. So, let's get into it. It seems to me that the more that you learn about sustainability and environmentalism and the climate crisis, the more overwhelming it all becomes. Even if we focus down on like one little niche, so the things that I talk about on this channel, for example, sustainable fashion, there are so many nuances and complexities, even just within that tiny little slither of the whole picture, that often you can end up feeling like whatever you do, it's just never enough, you're never going to have a big enough impact, or anything that you do is just going to be somehow wrong. There are a lot of factors that will help us solve the climate crisis on top of individual responsibility. So that's the stuff that you do in terms of driving your car less, flying less, eating less meat, or consuming less dairy, or shopping more sustainably. Often in conversations about sustainability, individual responsibility is contrasted with corporate responsibility. So that second one being governments and corporations and companies being held to account for driving changes in standards and policy and changing entire industries to change how things are generally done, which will lead us closer to meeting our climate targets. So that's great, but like, what can I do to make that happen? How can I demand more from those corporations and from my government and from organisations that can create those changes? It's not going to be everyone's destiny to become the next Greta Thunberg, to be an activist, to be a protester, to be the next person to throw soup on a world famous painting to protest new oil and gas. And that's cool. But the good news is that there are tons of organisations that are fighting those fights on your behalf that you can support today. And they need funding because they usually run off the back of public support. So without further ado, here are 3 of my favourites that you can support today. Number 1 is Greenpeace. Greenpeace was founded in 1971 by a group of people who were trying to stop a US weapons test. Today, the organisation is present in over 40 countries. They focus on challenges like climate change, sustainable fishing, meat and dairy, soya, renewable energy, and loads of other things as well. And in all of these areas, they are running real campaigns that are having a real impact. They've achieved things like creating the largest ultra-low emissions zone in London. It's the largest in Europe, and it was extended to 18 times its original size thanks to Greenpeace's work. They also campaigned for a whole decade to stop commercial whaling, leading to the International Whaling Committee banning it in 1982. You may have seen their activists and their protesters on the news. They're quite well known for these sort of stunts and still peaceful protests, but things that attract a lot of publicity. So recently they just had some of their protesters go and occupy an oil rig owned by Shell after learning that Shell's profits for the last year have been £32 billion. They also have some pretty entertaining socials content, which is fun to watch. Number 2 is Friends of the Earth. Friends of the Earth is another environmental campaigning community, and they have also been around since the 1970s. They take on local projects to make local areas more climate friendly. They also take the government to court over certain projects where they are harming the environment to hold them accountable for their actions. Friends of the Earth is run by a network of smaller local branches which you can actually join. They've led campaigns such as the fight to have doorstep recycling services for every household, which led to the passing of the House Waste and Recycling Bill in 2003. And they also ran a campaign which led to the UK government bringing in their Climate Change Act in 2008, which commits the UK government to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2050. And thirdly, I want to talk about the Marine Conservation Society, founded in 1983. They are campaigning to create cleaner and better protected oceans, focusing on stopping harmful chemicals and microplastics from ending up in our oceans, and also focusing on safeguarding marine protected areas, education around sustainable fishing and things like that. Their goal is to have at least 30% of the UK's waters effectively managed by 2030. Amongst Amongst other cool things, MCS hosts things like beach cleans, and they also have a sea search program where they train volunteer divers to go and look at underwater ecosystems and report back to inform conservation efforts, which is really cool. Recently, MCS have achieved things like getting the Scottish Government to commit to having 10% of Scottish waters designated as highly protected marine areas by 2026, and also having tens of thousands of people joining their plastic challenge as part of Plastic Free July to stop single-use plastic. So whether you're passionate about things happening in your local area, or you want to stop new oil and gas projects, or you want to protect our oceans, these organisations are a really great resource for you to learn more about those things, and also a great place to go to actually take some actions that are going to have a real impact. There are loads more, of course, that I could name, so I'll leave a pinned comment down in the comments below with some other organisations that you can follow and get involved with, and you should definitely add your own as well if you know of some that you really love to support, so that we can build up a real bank of resources and places for people to go. So what can you actually do to take action with these organisations? One easy thing that you can do through their websites is donate or become a member. You can also volunteer your time and your skills. Anything that these organisations can get volunteers to do for free will mean that they don't have to hire someone to do that job, which means that that funding can go towards the real action projects. You can also sign any of the petitions that they have, which literally takes 2 seconds, and you can share it with your friends and family as well. That's a great thing to do. You can also raise money, so a lot of these organisations will have annual events that they run that you can get involved with, or you can have your own event. You can also go to the marches and the events and the panels and things like that that they hold, and show your support by physically being there and like sharing it on your social media. You should also definitely follow them on social media to keep up with like the latest news and the latest updates from that area that you're passionate about. Raising awareness is half the battle, so anything that you can do to share the latest research and the latest resources from these organisations with your friends and family is going to go a long way. And it costs nothing. And finally, you can also buy their own merch. So all the 3 organisations that I've mentioned, and a lot of others, also have sustainable organic cotton merch. So you can check that out. I'll leave a link in the description below for that. So next time that you're looking for like a cool graphic t-shirt, or you're looking for a cozy jumper, or you're looking for a gift that's made sustainably, make sure to check out the products that are sold by these organisations, because the profits from those sales will go towards supporting their campaigns. So I hope this makes you feel a little bit less overwhelmed and gives you a place to start so that you can direct that planet-saving energy. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more, then please do hit the like and the subscribe button. It really helps me out. It shows me that you like this kind of content and you want to see more tips like this. That's it for now. Stay kind, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!